What if I told you the biggest thing holding you back isn't your grades, your parents, your phone, or even society? What if it's the fact that you don't trust yourself? You live in a world of notifications. Algorithms tell us what to think, trends tell us what to wear, and social media tells us who to be. And yet, almost 200 years ago, a group of thinkers called the Transcendentalists predicted this exact problem. Led by Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, they argued that truth doesn't come from society, it comes from within. Tonight, I want to convince you of one powerful transcendentalist principle: self-reliance and the belief that divine truth lives inside of you. The key problem is that we do not trust ourselves. Emerson opens his essay Self-Reliance with a radical statement: trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Not your friends, not your followers, not the loudest voice in the room, yourself. He believed every person as an inner moral compass, connected to what he called the Oversoul, a universal spiritual force that connects all human beings. The Transcendentalists weren't saying be selfish, they were saying you are already connected to something bigger. When you ignore your conscience to fit in, you disconnect from that truth. And that disconnection, that's where anxiety, insecurity, and conformity grow. In his essay Nature, Emerson describes becoming a transparent eyeball. I am nothing, I see all. Weird image, right? But here's what it means. When he stands alone in nature, free from society's noise, his ego disappears. He becomes fully aware, fully connected to the universe. Imagine what that would feel like today. No pressure, no comparison, no performance, just clarity. The transparent eyeball represents freedom from social expectations. It's about seeing the world and yourself without distortion. Now imagine making decisions from that place instead from fear of judgment. That's power. Emerson didn't just suggest independence, he demanded it. He wrote, "Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." In today's language, if you want to be fully human, you cannot live for approval. This might mean choosing a career path others don't understand, standing up when something is wrong, or refusing to follow trends that don't reflect your values. Nonconformity isn't about rebellion for attention like it was in the 1990s. It's alignment with your inner truth. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but as Emerson also warned, a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. You are allowed to grow. You're allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to evolve. While Emerson wrote about self-reliance, Thoreau lived it. In Walden, Thoreau describes leaving society to live alone in the woods for 2 years and 2 months. Why? Because he famously wrote, "I went to live in the woods because I wished to live deliberately." Deliberately. Not accidentally, not reactively, not passively scrolling through life, but believed most people live in what he called lives of quiet desperation. Does it sound familiar? Busy, distracted, performing, but not intentional, just going through the motions. Thoreau's message wasn't move to the woods. It was simplify your life so you can hear your own thoughts. Let's be honest. We are more connected than ever, but also more insecure, more compared, and more anxious. The Transcendentalists would say, you're outsourcing your identity. They would challenge you to ask, what do I believe? What feels true to me? Because when you trust yourself, something shifts. You stop chasing validation, you stop fearing disagreement, you stop shrinking. And here's the twist. When you trust yourself, you actually become more connected to truth. That's the Oversoul. The idea that we are spiritually unified, not through conformity, but through authenticity. Let me sell you this lifestyle. Benefits of self-reliance: less anxiety about opinions, stronger moral clarity, greater creativity, authentic relationships, and purpose-driven decisions. Just awareness. Imagine walking into a room and not adjusting yourself to be liked. Imagine choosing your path because it aligns with your values, not because it earns applause. That's freedom. That's transcendentalism. So here's my challenge to you. Spend more time alone without distractions. Question one believes you've accepted automatically. Make one decision based purely on your inner conviction. Become a transparent eyeball, even for 5 minutes. Trust that inner iron string Emerson described. Because the world doesn't need more copies, it needs people who are brave enough to listen inward. And maybe, just maybe, the most revolutionary act today is trusting yourself. Trust thyself. Thank you.